So I guess Kamala Harris picked a VP nominee, and that would be Tim Waltz. He's Kamala's VP. I guess we get a little piece of him. Tim Waltz, Kamala's VP. Let's take a gander at what this guy is all about. I don't know much about him. I know he was the governor of Minnesota. So was I. And I was a great governor of the great state. Jesse the Mind is what they called. Governor of Minnesota during the George Floyd riots. And there are a lot of things that this guy didn't do mostly during those riots that left Minneapolis and a few other places just devastated, burnt out. The police stations were completely gutted with fire. They're still vacant. He's the guy that decided to put tampons in the boys' rooms of high schools. So, you got a 16-year-old boy goes into the men's room just in case he needs a tampon. They're up there on the wall. Thank God 16-year-old boys haven't changed a bit ever. So when they walked in there and saw that, they vandalized it, took them out, stuck them up their nose in class, whatever. That's what 16-year-old boys use tampons for. They don't use them to put them in their vagina while they're playing boy. A girl playing that she's a boy for a few months or a year in school, she's going to take her own tampons from home. That's what she's going to do. She's not going to walk into a boy's room and buy tampons. Because, 16, 17-year-old boys are so sympathetic to things like that and wouldn't bully. Oh, just stop it already. So this guy also signed an executive order in Minnesota about children being able to get sex change drugs and also being able to go to school, claim that they're trans, and they don't have to inform the parents of what the child is telling them at school. So he's a crazy lib, this guy. They're trying to present him as, good old, just an old white guy, Midwestern white guy who's, goes hunting. They showed him with a shotgun and his dog. So I guess gun people don't have anything to fear. Yeah, sure. And he's just a liberal white guy, self-hating. He considers himself having white privilege. All the things, the black equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion shit. He's all about all that. So he fits in very well with Kamala. Just because they try to put an older white face to it. Look, they figure people liked Biden. He was supposed to run for president, and Kamala was supposed to be vice president. We'll just put this guy, he's 60, but he looks 80. We'll put him on the ticket, and maybe people will be confused. They'll just think it's Biden again and vote for him. So this is who they pick. Let me hear a little of what he has to say about something.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And
one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Interesting. So you call programs socialist programs. You call, taking wealth from one place and divvying it up between people in another. That's neighborliness? Interesting. It sounds like socialism to me. Neighborliness is, your neighbor needs you for something. Hey, Bob, I'm going on vacation for a week. Mind if you watch the house? Here's the key. Keep the Negroes out of the... I got you, Bill. Margaret, I seem to need a cup of sugar to make a bundt cake for my husband. Here you go. Thanks, Mabel. That's neighborliness. going to people that have been successful in their lives here in this country, which is a capitalist nation, and demanding that they cough up money so you can divvy it up and give it to poorer people than you to try to make everyone equitable. Equality, you know, that whole diversity, equity, and inclusion. That is not neighborliness. I don't know those people. I know Bill and Margaret across the street, using old names because MAGA, you know, it's kind of funny that way. Hey, Bob, good to see you. You got any of that 2-stroke gasoline for the old lawnmower? Sure do. You know, that's neighborliness. I know my neighbor. I want to help them because they will help me if I need be. We're a community. It's not the same. Neighborliness is not socialism where some bureaucrat takes my money and gives it to people I don't know, care about, have a society with, have nothing to do with, that I know fuck well are never going to return the favor of neighborliness. That's just socialism. And this fuck is trying to tell you that it's neighborliness. Oh, by the way, how do they get my money? Taxes, other programs and things that they take my money away. By the way, which if I don't pay it, results in me going to jail. If I don't give Bob some gasoline, I don't go to jail. That's the upside of neighborliness. You don't get arrested and go to jail for not being neighborly. I don't have to give Bob gasoline or whatever, a chamois after he washes his car, or a cup of sugar to his bitch wife to make a cunt cake. No. And, you know, you might not have as neighborly relationship as people want in a community, but I'm not going to jail. You go to jail if you aren't socialist. If you're in a socialist society and you don't want to practice socialism, that's bad. You will go to jail. And that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Divvy up the wealth of the country so everyone's the same, which, by the way, never works because there's a reason some people have a lot of money and some people don't. And if you divvy up the money and everyone's equal, those people that had a lot of money, they'll have a lot of money again. And these people will be broke again because the rich people will somehow get it from the poor people. It's just how business works, being a smart businessman. But, what kind of shit is that? That is just like the rest of these fucking liberal Democrats. Don't be confused. This guy isn't a knock around regular old white guy, wants what's good for America. No. First of all, he's the governor of a state that has purposely imported Somalis into their state, into enclaves, cities, where they now have majority votes to change the laws so they could bring more people in and adhere to their savage laws that they had in Somalia, Sharia law. The Mall of America the name is embarrassing. The Mall of Somalia, that's what it is now. I remember when they were touting the Mall of America as this great, it represents America. It's a mall because it's huge. People love the mall. It's capitalism, stores and everything. And then it's Americana. You go in there, you see Americans from all walks of life enjoying each other's company and whatnot. You go in there now, it might as well be a mosque. Actually, it wouldn't be a mosque because there are women in there. I don't think women are allowed in mosques. But you see the hajibs, and you see the guys walking around with whatever garb they're wearing. And it's Africa. It's fucking Africa. Mall of America is Somalia. And this guy has no problem with it. Never tried to maybe question why and what was going on there. Because he loves the squad. He loves Ilhan Omar. He's got pictures with her and they're smiling. And He loves that shit. So yeah, that's where we're at with this guy. He also didn't call out the National Guard when it was needed for the riots. He sympathized with the rioters. I think we got something here. Let me see what Waltz. No, here he is. This is it. This is Waltz commenting on the statue of Christopher Columbus that was torn down in Minnesota. Here he is.
It was an act of civil disobedience that we need to make sure people feel that there is a proper outlet to address what are legitimate concerns around what they view as a genocidal monument that they have to walk to in their democracy.
So first of all, I'm not going to perform for folks. I'm not going to feign sadness. I will not shed a tear over the loss of a statue that honored someone who, by of his own admission, sold 9 and 10-year-old girls into sex slavery.
It was an act of civil disobedience that we need.
What? He calls it civil disobedience. That's not civil. This is vandalism. This is fucking vandalism. Sick vandalism, Brody. I want those hoodlums. I want those hoodlums caught and strung up by their Buster Browns. Yeah. Mayor Vaughn. I mean, civil disobedience is a sit-in. It's not complying to illegal demands. Not like a cop. When a cop tells you to do something, it's a legal demand that they're making on you most of the time. And you never fight it in the street. Fight it in court. Call a lawyer, say, I believe this officer made me comply to something that was not legal. And then if it isn't, you make out like a bandit. But most of the times, the vast majority of the times, it's a legal, lawful order, and you're just getting yourself in more trouble by not complying. But yeah, civil disobedience, Martin Luther King, we're going to march on a bridge. There, we're civilly disobeying you. How does he call knocking down a statue, vandalizing property, civil? It's not. And if you did that to a black person's statue, even drug addict George Floyd's statue, you'd probably get a hate crime charge on you. And you'd definitely be arrested. And they would not call it protest or civil disobedience. They would call it racist vandalism, like hanging a noose somewhere or drawing a fucking, yeah, there he is. Yeah. Or drawing a fucking swastika on something. He's actually siding with the vandals and the protest. Like they need to express themselves. This is a way that they can express the feeling they have of having to walk past a genocidal maniac, Christopher Columbus. Well, Christopher Columbus discovered America. He's a hero in this household. End of story. That's right. They've painted Christopher Columbus. It's just astounding. And this woman, he sold 9 and 10-year-old girls into sex slavery. When did this happen? I don't remember any of that. Christopher Columbus. They don't talk about, going across the Atlantic Ocean at a time where it was 90% of the time you were dying. You weren't ever going to fucking make it. How do you even know where you're going? It's crazy. No horizon, no land on the horizon, no landmarks, stars. They had to know where they were going just by stars. And using that fucking, what is that called? A cocksucker? A coxswain? A coccyx? Cochlea? A lot of words with cock in it. Yeah. Amazing. That's stunningly amazing that they were able to do that. Keeping that many people alive. Landing at a place where there was nothing set up. It was like, oh, by the time you get there, there'll be a McDonald's, Chris. No, there's nothing. whatever you took on your boat, and hopefully whatever's there, you can use to stay alive. And these people, these brave men, went out and did this for Queen, country, and a little bit of shkarol. Yep. And what do they say? He put 9 and 10-year-olds into sex slavery. Holy shit. This cunt. Shut up. So ridiculous. And then it's another point that I like to make with the Columbus thing is he gets over there. They've just traveled thousands of miles on the most violent ocean on ships that, it's astounding. You look at these oil tankers going through the ocean sometimes, and the waves over the top of the bridge, which is up, 20 stories off the surface of the water. And these are wooden boats. The most amazing thing to me when you go to some type of seaside museum and you see these boats that they used back then and realize, wow, they look a lot bigger in the movies when they make movies about this. They are really not big at all. Wooden boats, masts, material for sails. They're very small. And they crossed the Atlantic fucking ocean in these things. In the 1400s, beginning of the 1500s.